It's about to get real. You might be thinking, why the heck is there a tent behind you in your reptile room, Bryce? Of all places, are you going mad? Are you going crazy? Is this lockdown getting to your head? No, today's topic is going to be about something pretty special. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's the story of the lady who had her snake in her bed and it started sizing her up. Let's get into it. Before we get into that, I need to do some regular maintenance on my Cape Cobra enclosure. Nogenavir is their scientific name and neurotoxic is their venom game. So let's get into it. And I see he shed, so I think he's gonna look nice and smart and spazzy. Okay, his head's there. That's what you need to look out for most of the time. All of the time, in fact. I've just got this here so he doesn't start, rubbing against the side of the glass trying to get out. He can't fit getting out, but that just prevents him from actually rubbing his nose and getting little nose burns, because they try and breathe through that lip there and see if they can squeeze out. I hate that noise. Okay, I've got him by the tail, but now he's hooking his body around there. Okay, there we go. Wow! He's looking so snazzy now with his nice coloration and shed. That head is looking extra spectacular today, if I do say so myself. So let's get him inside there. Pop him in like that. And boom! No stress to the animal and no stress to me. Making it all nice and worth it. What's really cool and super interesting is how he is able to even climb something as thin as these little branches. He'll stay up in the tree here or the little shrubbery and not break these little twigs. It's pretty interesting that he's able to climb with that much skill. And there we go. A nice healthy poop from the Cape Cobra. I don't see any fangs in it. It's a lot harder to find fangs in a cobra's poop because they are front fixed fang snakes opposed to your vipers, which are selenoglyph or hinged fangs, and those fangs are generally a lot bigger. Snakes do shed their fangs really often, and you will be able to find fangs in their poop quite often depending on the age and size of the snake. The biggest thing I hate about this glass is I constantly clean it. Like I just cleaned it a few days ago, but as you can see from me touching it, it gets all messed up, so I don't feel like cleaning that today. At least inside the enclosure is perfect and spotless. Let's get him back in his enclosure. That noise is also not the most pleasant thing to work with. What do you think I should name this boy? Because he's absolutely stunning. Maybe name him something weird like Tom or Jerry. Turns out the stretcher's not gonna fit, so I'll have to do something else. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded. So as you can imagine by now, I am putting the story to the test with my over 7 foot long yellow anaconda. I'll get to the story of how this all began in a moment. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't manage to sleep the whole night with Agera, my 8 foot long anaconda, for this experiment because I wasn't, quite frankly, able to convince my mom that this was a clever and safe idea. So that made me think, if I can't convince even my mom that this isn't a safe idea, how on earth am I able to convince you guys that this isn't, dangerous to be near a very large constrictor of a snake? Oh, I'm super stoked on this. Oh, dope, man. I ordered some snake hooks for my birthday and they've just arrived now, almost a week later. Dude, this is incredible. My nice custom size carbon fiber, light as heck snake hook, and then a nice adder hook for some puff adders. Oh dude, I'm so excited. So I'm pretty sure you've heard how this story goes. There are a few thousand different variations that us reptile keepers get exposed to over quite an amount of time. The one being have you heard of this lady who used to keep her snake free in her room and let it sleep with her? And one day she took her to the vet because the snake wasn't eating and hadn't eaten for a few months. And the vet asked her, well, has he been lying straight up your body when he was sleeping next to you? And she said, yes. And the vet said, oh, well, that's because he's sizing you up to eat you. Before we move on to any other variations of the story, let me ask you, do snakes in the wild size their food items up? Do they go up to a rodent or a mouse and lie next to it and think, hey, is this going to fit in my body? So just think on that before you go any further. The second one I've heard is, oh, this lady was actually sleeping with her snake and the snake was lying next to her. She didn't take her to the vet or anything, but it was in her bedroom and it was laying flat next to her, and reptile experts from all over the world told her that this is because her big pet python is sizing her up and waiting to digest all of its current meals so it can digest her. So let me tell you now, I'm over 6 feet and this snake is approximately 7 to 8 feet in length, similar to the size of the snake in the story, which was a 7-foot snake. Does it look like a snake this size will even have the capacity to swallow someone whole like me? No, that would be pretty impossible. Yes, they can inflict a nasty bite, but they will not eat you guys. So as for a snake sizing its owner up, snakes in the wild do not lay next to their prey item and decide whether or not it is obtainable to eat. So if this story is even true, which I doubt it because there are so many false variations and everybody seems to be connected to this mystery woman in a way, that I think this is completely false. However, if the snake were to be lying next to her, my opinion would be because that snake is seeking warmth. Reptiles, and snakes included, are ectothermic, which means they are cold-blooded animals and cannot produce their own body temperature. So no matter how many blankets you pile on top of them, they will never get warm because they cannot create their own heat. They are the heat of their surrounding temperature. So us mammals are endothermic, so we can create our own temperature. Therefore, if we lay in a blanket, we will get warm because we are heating up the blanket and the blanket is acting as an insulation device, whereas them, you can stuff thousands of blankets on top of them, they will never get any warmer. So that is why my opinion is, if the story is even true, the snake was lying next to her not to size her up to eat her, but to get her warmth, to get the lady's nice 37 degrees Celsius body temperature, because these guys need heat, especially if this was in a colder climate. So there's really nothing else to say. As you can see, this 8-foot specimen is absolutely incredibly awesome and is not trying to eat me. And look at the size of this animal. Yes, it's a large snake, but a Gera is in no way able to swallow me whole, because look how thick my head is and look at her body. Yes, my head might be able to fit in her, but what about my shoulders? What about the rest of my body? Humans are an incredibly awkward species to eat because we don't just fold up so nicely, and if they start with one leg, one arm, one side, they're kind of going to get stuck because that's how our body works. And yeah, we were not designed to be an anaconda's prey item, or any snake for that matter. So that is why this myth or this legend is deemed false and impossible. It couldn't happen. Whatever the reasons for the story going around is, who knows? But it's not true. The snake is not trying to size her up and eat her. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments down below. And if you have any myths for me to dispel, leave them in the comments too, because this is one us reptile keepers hear pretty frequently and it's not really true. And if you think of it, for a few seconds, it's actually quite silly, because why would a snake size its prey item up? It's not like it would have that opportunity in the wild or even captivity. They don't just lie next to it thinking, can I fit this thing into my body? So no, it's not true. So I've been seeing about 80% of you guys are not subscribed, so please click that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with your friends who think this myth is true, or if you've ever heard of this myth. Thanks guys for watching. Bryce from Righteous Reptiles. Remember to go out, learn, explore, inspire. Cheers guys, live it. Don't go out, it's Corona. Stay safe and stay inside.